Hi everyone, welcome to this week's reading, and this is for the week of the 14th to the 20th of August. And so this week the main points I want to talk about are to do with the Mercury Retrograde and some of the aspects that are happening to do with the moon throughout the week, as well as the sun. So first of all, Mercury is retrograde from last Sunday, and this actually continues on till September 5th, 6th, so just to be aware of the Mercury retrograde dates. It's not a long Mercury retrograde transit, which is good. So Mercury Virgo around 11 degrees starts to retrograde, okay? And just a reminder, as I always say with this, is if you're somebody that has Mercury retrograde natally, it's not so much of a testing transit, though you still do need to pay attention to details, okay? And for everybody else, definitely, especially in the sign of Virgo, which is a very critical sign, a very detail-oriented sign, do check details, especially if you are at work, because Virgo rules the workplace and it rules health and routine. So details to do with, you know, the routine of your travels, even from home to work. So paying attention more in the car if you're driving, paying attention to road signs, things like that. At the workplace, you know, double checking emails before you send them. If you've been a bit sleep deprived like I have been lately, you know, you can make mistakes more easily, so double check, you know, the information that you send out. And also, like with packages or sending parcels, double check addresses, things like that. There can be miscommunications also this week, and due to the Mercury retrograde, which you would probably know about if you've been following things to do with astrology for a while. Miscommunications are a typical thing that happens with Mercury in retrograde, and it can lead us to feel judgmental or critical towards others because of, you know, being in the sign of Virgo, or even towards ourselves. So just something to be aware of, and pace yourself through this energy until September 5th, 6th. Okay, so the other stuff, I'm just shuffling the cards, by the way, before I get to the card portion of the reading, and I've got the Mythic Tarot this week, so just as I speak I'm going to be shuffling the cards here. Okay, so this week what I see first of all is on Wednesday, the moon in Gemini. Now bearing in mind Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is retrograde, so the moon in Gemini makes a difficult square aspect to Neptune, okay, in Pisces. So I would say on Wednesday, be really careful about miscommunications, confusion within communications, confusion within your emotional world, within, you know, your inner thoughts and thinking. Things can be very unclear on Wednesday. It could be frustrating for some people. They may feel that it's very external to do with people in the workplace, or emotional contacts, or, you know, people that, like, in relationships, or even family members. So then we have on Thursday something quite different, actually. The sun makes a conjunction to the North Node in Leo, 17 degrees of Leo. So if you're someone born around middle of Leo, it's actually really positive for you. If you know your chart and you've got anything around 17 degrees of fire, this is actually really good for you. When the sun contacts the North Node like this, it can bring sort of a feeling of wanting to advance yourself on your life path. So, you know, if you have strong Leo in your chart, if you have strong fire in your chart around the 17 degree mark, you're definitely going to be feeling this need to progress your life in some way. You know, this feeling of, I want to do better, I want to experience, you know, better quality of experiences in life, whether it's in the workplace, career, relationships, in life in general, whatever it is. So there can be a strong desire on Thursday for a lot of people, but, you know, especially those with fire energies in their chart, middle degrees. So there can be also a feeling of encouragement around you, a feeling of positive hopefulness that you will get to achieve what you want to achieve, and you can have some insight and clarity on that day, on Thursday as well. So it's a positive transit. Just be watchful. The only thing I would say with that is, you know, with the Sun and the North Node conjunct, it can really boost the ego identity, and for some people, if you get carried away with that energy, not for everybody, but for some people that are more prone to ego outbursts, you can be a bit pushy, or a bit too in other people's faces, or a bit too full of bluster and a bit too blunt or something. So that's the only sort of energy that I would warn against. On Friday, the moon in Cancer makes a lovely trine aspect with Neptune in Pisces, so that's something nice where you would find potential for heightened intuitive, mystical experiences, creative energy. Intuitions are very strong. Dreams can be filled with messages and astral, connections, or meeting other souls on, that you know in higher levels on the astral plane or in the dream state, having messages from spirit. Definitely on Friday there's a very strong sense of heightened intuition, but later on the Friday the moon will then actually make, much later on, it will make a opposition to Pluto, so that's more of a harsher energy, something to watch out for, where emotions can be projected quite negatively towards others or vice versa, so just be careful of that. And it could be issues that do flare up for some people in the home life, especially for those that have anything around 17, 18 degrees of Capricorn, Cancer, Libra, or Aries. Now, the end of the week, the sun, sorry, not the end of the week, what am I saying here? Sorry, the end of the week and going, so the Sunday and the Monday, the sun will make a trine to Uranus. So this only happens a couple of times a year, and so you're looking at the 20th to the 21st of August, sort of going into next week. This is a really nice energy, a very uplifting energy, a creative energy, a time where you might feel, especially if you have anything around 28 degrees of fire in your chart, so you'll feel like you want to break out of your comfort zone, or you might want to break free of restrictions, or just to express your individuality in some creative way in your life. You may be dreaming about a time when you feel more connected to something free and fun in your life, and you're just craving that freedom. So if you're in a restricted kind of situation on Sunday, Monday, it could be a bit testing for you, but at the same time you may feel a sense of positive hope for the future, because you feel like you want to start tapping into something more connected with your true sense of expression, your true identity, who you really are, rather than, going through the motions of aspects of life that are not representing your true self. So there's a need that a lot of people are going to feel later at the end of the week, to express something very creative, something very unique, your true self, your true path, and to break free in some way, or you may be longing for that. Oh, that's weird. Two cards came out, so I'm going to get those together. That was not expected. I thought I had one there, so that's actually very interesting. Let's see how I'm going to balance this. The angel there. There we go. And then Page of Cups. Oh, the Death card. It was reversed, so I'm going to leave it reversed. Even though I normally don't do reversals, I felt the need to do that. Okay, so the Two of Swords and the Seven of Swords. So there's some tension, with the beginning of the week. In this card, you can see the man, he's holding his head and he's under some kind of stress or duress, and there's a need to make a decision, but an inability to make a decision. So this, I really feel for a lot of people, there could be either work-related or relationship situation, okay? It's like you want to make a decision, you want to make a change, but you feel stuck, okay? And therefore you're not making any decision at all, which in itself is a decision. So again, I'll say relationships or work-related / career is what I'm getting here. Seven of Swords, it shows that there is something going on in your mind that is not aligned to your environment. So whether you're in a workplace and you're just not happy there, and you feel constantly at odds with the workplace, internally you're not happy, you're agitated or even angry about the environment. There's a sense of depressive energy with this card. Interestingly, the eclipse is depicted in the background, which I find really interesting, because we just had that partial full moon lunar eclipse in Aquarius, which I talked about last week. So that's very interesting to me, because that makes me read in a whole new energy there, that the eclipse that happened in Aquarius has started to kind of make some changes, start to ripple into your life, and you may not be even aware of how this is happening yet, because it's very fated sort of energy with the eclipse. And for some people, they may have already seen results of that, but don't forget, for others, the eclipse energies often take several weeks to several months to up to 6 months or more to manifest. So the eclipse in Aquarius that we just had, it's still working its effects in people's lives. So for some people that are in this unhappy situation, I want to say the change is happening, but it's very subtle and it's over time, okay? And don't forget, we also have a solar eclipse coming up next week, and I'm going to talk about that next week, and I'm going to talk about it for every zodiac sign, okay? So that eclipse is a solar eclipse representing a new beginning, and it's going to be in the sign of Leo, so it's going to be really interesting. So the next card, the Page of Cups, which represents a young person or a new start in some way. So for some people that have, you know, those of you that have children out there, this will represent a child. Obviously it's a male child in this card, but it could be, you know, either female or male. There's a sense of that child very focused on, you know, what they're going through at this time. And then maybe if that child has been going, because we have the Death card reversed next to it, that child may have been maybe feeling like they're going through a time of either they feel stuck or they're coming out of a period where they feel stuck. So it's going to be either or. And I'm just going to see if there's any other messages with this. Okay, another message with this one is for other people. The message is separate to the child message, that you yourself are needing to be patient during this time while the seeds of what you have planted are growing. But, you know, it's like if you're constantly looking at a pot where you've planted seeds, you're constantly digging those seeds up, they're not going to grow, so you need to just leave it be and just let it grow on its own. And interestingly, I'm really drawn to how this figure is, you know, pulling up this little flower here. I mean, it's reversed, so it's upside down, and there's something there relating to what I just said about that metaphor about looking too quickly or digging too deeply into things that are not ready to manifest just yet. So there's a need to have trust in this process, okay? And I'm just going to get one more card from a deck that I have not used for a long time. It's the Rainbow Oracle by Jasmine Safi. I really like these cards, and I have not used them for quite a while. I meant to use them a few weeks ago, I think, but I can't remember. I don't think I did. But anyway, and if you'd like a private reading with me, follow the links below to my online store. Just be aware at the moment I'm quite booked up, so it's going to be up to at least 7 to 12 business days for a reading, okay? For the turnaround time. Okay, let's see what we've got this week. I'm definitely pulled to this one here. Ooh, multi-dimensional self. What a great card. So this is just a reminder this week that you exist on different planes, not just the physical plane, but the spiritual planes, higher astral planes, etheric planes. And it says your awareness is expanding, integrating consciousness to become your highest expression of being. That's really deep stuff. So it's also about breaking out of old patterns of fear, resentment, anger reactions, lower self reactions, and coming into alignment with more of the truth of yourself. And I want to say, for some people, I'm hearing health. So what I get with this is, if there's something with your health that's out of sorts, you're really sort of struggling against that aspect of yourself that is, you know, fighting against something on the physical cellular level of your body. And so it can be difficult to feel like you're in touch with the higher aspect of yourself when you have that sort of thing going on, because, you know, when we're unwell or when we're run down, we do feel more irritable than usual. It can make us feel cranky and really just out of sorts. So there's something about looking after your health on a deeper level this week as well, and that way you can feel more connected to your higher self and more in a flow. But it's also about, I feel, paying attention to dreams, and that came up in the reading before when I was talking about the astrology for this Wednesday. This Friday with the moon trine Neptune, where we'll be able to access, you know, something deeper spiritually. And so this touches on that again. And so you may be able to receive messages this week that are pretty unique, or to do with spiritual insights, or to do with messages from, you know, beyond, messages from spirit. And so sometimes it's a good idea to write down those experiences just so you have a record of it, as just one, for proof for yourself. So sometimes, for example, if you have a dream and that dream comes true and proves to be like a precognitive dream, then at least you have a record of that, and you can follow up and write, you know, what happened and how much, you know, related to the dream and all that sort of thing. Whereas if you don't keep a record of it, it can be hard to, you know, follow up with your psychic abilities and all that sort of thing. So this is a card about psychic abilities expanding and third eye opening as well. So that was the reading for the week. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish everyone a beautiful week. Thanks guys. Bye.